Welcome back to Not Balls Talk. It's your host DJ K with you, and today I have the honor of having Mr. Jordan Anderson on the podcast. Jordan, how you feeling today?
Feeling good, man. How about yourself?
I'm feeling great. Man, we're going to jump straight into it. Mr. Jordan is a defensive back, 5'11", 200 from Detroit, Michigan, and attended Harper Woods High School, NFL free agent, man. It's a blessing to have you on here. Really excited to have you on here.
Appreciate you for having me.
And we're just going to tell the people a little bit about yourself. You know, you committed to Bowling Green straight out of high school in 2018, and then you transferred to UCLA in 2023. People may not know this, but you was a captain for football and track in high school in 2018, and you also played running back at high school, rushed for 2,550 yards, 12 touchdowns, 2 first-team All-State 2017 defensive player for East Village Prep. You definitely got a good rap sheet on you right there.
Definitely.
The first question I have for you today is: growing up in Detroit, how did the environment shape you and your athletics to where you are today?
Well, it's Detroit. We a hustle and an ambitious type of city, man. We hard working, so you always got those morals and those values instilled in you. So I always just fell in love with the process of putting in work and getting better, each day. So always, once I fell in love with the process, I just let it all handle itself for real. So I always know that I got that hard ambition, that hustle background in me. So I always know I'm gonna make a way.
So I like that. And as you are an NFL free agent, we're gonna start off there and then work our way down.
hmm
Can you tell us about the process and how you got to the NFL and how is it the journey in there? As it is a tough process where a lot of people can't even get a smell of it.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough process, man, from just finding an agent, finding the right agent at that who got your best interest, just grades and like rounds and draft grades from first projected round, you could be a third projected round, you could be day one, day two, day three to a priority free agent. So it's all type of tiers that goes out throughout the process for real, for real. And then on top of that, you got your pro day numbers and your combine numbers and stuff like that. So that's a big deal. So it's a whole lot to the process. But I feel like once you have like the right people in the corner, and that's why it's so imperative that you pick the right person as your agent, so they can tell you and lead you along the way and guide you in the right steps for real, for real. But my process was up and down for real, due to the fact that my last season it was kind of uh 50-50 with it. So, that kind of hurt me a little bit, but it was good. And like I said, also it's all about, teaching me a lesson. It's an experience nonetheless. And it was always teaching me about perseverance and things of that nature. But yeah, once I got a little shot with a trial with the Jags, did good, heard some stuff from there. But with that thing, so it's like team can bring you back, but it's all depending on if they want to sign a veteran or if they don't have enough spots for things of that nature. So it's all up in there. It's all around for real, for real. At this junction, it's all about who you know at this point, for real, for real. So it's all about just making the best out of your opportunities and networking with who you can network with.
Most definitely. And the next question I have for you today is, I definitely want to spotlight your NFL process in the beginning, so that way we can work
hmm
our way down. Last
Gotcha.
question I have for you is your NFL process. When you was coming out of college, how did you keep a steady mindset in that transition?
Really, man, just talking. So, with the program I come from, we got a lot of guys that that made it to the league. Just people I grew up with, and played with, or I looked up to. So, I talk to them about the process and just ask them questions. Pick their brain, see what they say and what they had the words, whether it was words of encouragement or just suggestions or details they give me. And then also, man, just praying and giving it up to God, because at the end of the day, ain't nothing this, you feel me, available without him. So just those two.
For sure. Now we're gonna jump all the way down to your high school career and work our way up. Like I said before, you was named defensive player of the year in 2017 for East Village Prep. Correct me if I was
hmm
wrong. Can you walk us through like that season? A lot of things you had to do to get that award. As in, what I'm saying, it's not an easy award to get.
Yeah, so basically, the season before that, we didn't do too good. So, it was always um just put it in the air like, yeah, we was this record last year, like we barely won, things of that nature. So, I got tired of that, and just plus, I felt like I was underrated. I only had maybe like one offer when I was like one of the best people in the state at that time. So, I just put in extra work, man. Like whenever we had practice, I would stay after to lift extra weights to get extra work in off the field, man, and just really hone in on the game for real. And then I also had a coach who, just really instilled like having confidence. Like granted, like it's good to be humble, but at the same time, like playing a position that you play DB, you got to have some confidence, and you really got to, believe in and stand on what you say. So I had to instill that in me. Then once I got real confident in my ability and my knowledge, it just all went up from there. And then I just put the drill to the field and just took off.
Now, also, you also did play running back in high school. What made you
Yeah.
really want to go the DB route?
So it's crazy. I've been a running back my whole life, bro. I played football since I was 5, so I played running back all the way up until I didn't start playing DB until like a little bit 8th grade year, but I really wasn't messing with it. But yeah, my coach, one of my little league coaches, he said, they giving out offers at DB, man. You need to make that switch. And he was basically saying like, it's more DBs on the field at one time than there is running back. So that kind of like stuck with me. It's 5 DBs on the field at any given time. It's only one running back on the field. So at that moment, I was just like, I do that, and then once I did that, I just put the work in, and I got better as the time went on. But I definitely do. I do miss playing running back though for sure.
I definitely like that. Coach says more DBs on the field than running back. I ain't never heard that one before, but I definitely like that. So, how do you think you formally playing running back and really having a running back mindset? How does that help your game at a DB?
It from so as a safety, it kind of helps you out because you get to know certain fits as far as like moving to the ball, like whether it's like the running back gonna jump to the A gap or the B gap, so it's stuff, things of that nature. But I mean, you just know how offensive players gonna move for real, for real. So you gotta have like a different mindset or two type of perspectives from both sides of the ball. So I feel like it helped me out a lot, and it just makes you more agile in certain positions.
For sure. Now, closing up on your high school journey, what is one thing that you would go back and tell your younger self, or go back and tell any athlete that needs advice transition from high school to college?
Really just don't focus on other rankings or stars or nothing like that in high school, and just really just fall in love with the process and just never get complacent for real, for real. And then like going into college, really, once you know your playbook, everything else gonna follow itself for real, for real. If you know your playbook, they can't take you off the field.
Facts. And what was the biggest adjustment for yourself that you had to make from leaving high school going into college?
I would say really just having to start all over because I was top player on my team in high school, but when I came in, I was like third on the depth chart, so I had to like restart over, like rebrand myself. But once I did that, I was smooth for real, for real. So really just staying level headed and really probably just the speed of the game.
Yeah, for sure. Now, with you going to Bowling Green straight out of high school, correct?
Uh,
Yeah. What was like the biggest adjustment really there from your hometown to going towards Bowling Green, meeting a whole different group of guys, working under a new coach? How was that adjustment really mentally and physically?
it's in the middle of nowhere. It's in the cornfields. You feel me? So it's like I'm coming from Detroit. It's a big city. It's kind of fast life, but it's going to Bowling Green. It ain't really nothing but it's a college town for real, for real. And then on top of that, I ain't never went to school with that many white people, so that was kind of different in me. But I can adjust to anything. So that's probably like the biggest adjustment was just like my surroundings and the settings and stuff. But other than that, I was cool for real.
And then after that, for your red shirt senior year, right? You transferred to UCLA. So how was that? How was that transition also from you going to Bowling Green, jumping up to UCLA? How was that process as far as like, the area, of course, and then also the football, because UCLA is a great football, but great athletic school in general. But football, of
Hmm.
course, is one of their good programs also, and being around a bunch of different athletes, a bunch of different mindsets and former players.
Yeah, it was way different. It was way different from the Midwest, so I had to like get adjusted to it. Just like the time difference was crazy, and then just just people and how they move out there. It's way different the culture, but once you can get adjusted, or like if you can adapt to anything, you would be cool for real, for real. And then just like the school itself, like as far as like the resources, I had everything I needed for real. Whether it was food or it was like recovery wise or things of that nature. or at BG was kind of lacking of a little bit just because we wasn't Power Five schools and mid major school. Which I mean, there ain't no excuses to that. You gotta make what you got with it. But UCLA, we got all the resources. It makes stuff a little bit easier, so it was less worry on me.
Definitely. Now, with you um being DB, mostly safety, correct me if I'm wrong. What do you think is your biggest strength and what makes you that you know you can do to the best of your ability better than the next man?
It would probably be my instincts and my physicality for real. Like I know a lot of people they good and they can survive off athletics, but me, I'm athletic and I know the game. And so, I'm instinctual. I know what's coming, whether it's concepts or I know whether a QB about to throw this route or a receiver about to run this route based off his split, his alignment, stuff of that nature. And then just, being physical for real. Like a lot of DBs, I ain't gonna say like it's not physical, but people don't want to get hit for real, for real. People don't like to get physical. I like the physicality. So, I take pride in it. So I said those are two strengths for real.
And with you being a well-rounded vet throughout the college and really on your way to the NFL, what's one of like your best preparations or preparation that you know you could go to that you really make your body rejuvenated back to 100% that you know like you could recommend to other athletes?
As far as like pregame or just in general.
Pregame, postgame, really much in general. What's preparation that you do that you know your body is always rejuvenated back
Okay.
up?
Basically, well, yeah. Well, as far as like mental wise, I'm always in the film room, like whether it's with the coach, just so I can make sure like everything is like in order. I'm just crossing my T's and dotting my I's so I know everything is good. But as far as like physicality, you gotta live in a recovery room because you feel me, you can only go as long as your body take you, feel me. So if your body broke down, you can't really do nothing. So I always got in my like the ice bath like the day before the games or like the 2 days before the game, just so like your body can recover. You can have it ready for when it's game time.
You really already answered my next question because the next question is going to be how you feel about the study film and getting there. But
Oh,
you
yeah,
are
film is a big deal. Like a lot. Like I said, a lot of people don't know football for and then like when you get in them higher rooms with teams, they're gonna put you on the board, and if you don't know what to do, if you don't know what to say, it's like you're gonna be looking stupid. You're gonna get stuck. So you gotta always know what you're talking about if you want to be for real about it. So yeah, I take big pride in film for sure because once you know film, like the game slow down like so much better, and you get to play so much faster. It's like when you don't know what you're doing, you out there running like a rabbit with their head cut off. Like you just everything going so fast. So you know,
for sure. And now with you being like we said, a safety, a DB, that's really one of the biggest voices on the defense. How do you take pride in really and being like a leader or taking on a leadership role in the DB room or really just a defensive room, period?
well, I always been a leader, so it comes second nature to me. But then yeah, once you get on a big time defense, you got to be able to know the calls. You got to be able to tell people where to go and what to do, and you always got to be able to like project your voice because you playing in front of 100,000, 90,000. So they might not hear it the first time, so you got to always be on your p's and q's and like get the call out and just get it to everybody for real, for real. And then like I said, that comes back to you knowing what you're doing, knowing the calls, knowing what's happening. Because if you don't do that, how you gonna be a leader on the defense? You get what I'm saying? So I take pride in it though for sure because that's always there's always like a type of pressure. I like the pressure, so I always feel like if something going wrong, they can put it on me. So I'm always cool with it.
Most definitely. Now, if you can you give me your most memorable moment or game at BG and at UCLA?
Okay, so at UCLA, it's probably between when we play Washington State or in Colorado. We played Washington State. They was like ranked in the country. It was like the game of the week. They had Washington State beating us, and that's when they had like Cam Ward. It was like no offense in the country at the time. Yeah, we went crazy that game. It was a battle, two forced fumbles. And I like to play that like was real prevalent in like the fourth quarter. And then also when we played Colorado, that's when that it was a big hype behind Dion and them. They had Travis and Shador and them, and it was a sold out game, so it was like real like lit for real, for real. So I remember that game like vividly. It was lit. And then at BG. It's probably definitely one of my favorite, probably my most favorite players when we beat Minnesota. We upset Minnesota. I think it was like 35 and 30, 31 and a half underdogs. You know, it's probably like one of the biggest upsets.
Dang,
Yeah, but yeah, we beat Minnesota. I had the game sealing pick too to end the game. So that's probably top three moments for sure.
that's lit. So, like you were saying, when you was at UCLA, going against some very big names in the country, and
Mhm.
as a Shador, the Cam Wards, the Travis Hunters, what's your mindset of going to games like that? Like, where other people may think, excuse me, other people may think like, oh, this is one of the best athletes, one at their position in the world. Where you know what I'm saying, as you like you said, coming out of Detroit, Michigan, you really, as you said earlier, giving advice to the young is really know your worth, fear nothing, stars don't matter. What's your
Yeah.
mindset going to games like that?
Yeah, like obviously, you know, they one of the, you know, they big time names at the same time, you know, they put on pads just like you do. You know? So I take that as an opportunity to get off for real. So, you know, even when we played, even when I was at BG and we was playing big games, you know, that's how I got my name, you know, just going crazy against bigger schools. So when that time comes, you know, I'm prepared for it. So, and you know, like I said, being from Detroit, you know, and organizations I've been in, you know, it's when we got one-on-ones and camps and stuff, it's like a Shark Tank. So it's either you sink or swim. So hey, you know, I'm used to that type of time when the light come on for real, for real. So
For sure. And in your opinion, what is the biggest lesson football has taught you throughout your whole career, even though your career is still going so far? What did
hmm
you learn? What have you learned that football has taught you?
that's a great question. I think football gives you so many life lessons like throughout life, just to how to have accountability and responsibility. You know, it teaches you time management. It teaches you how to, you know, get along with not just people because you know in the world where it's like full of like black and white football, it really don't matter like what ethnicity you is or like you know race you are because like we all here for like one common goal and that's to win, play the game that we love. So I feel like I couldn't give you like a single thing it taught, but like it gives like many life lessons that you can carry on throughout like the rest of your life for if that makes sense.
I agree. Now, with you playing DB through at the collegiate level, with you playing
Mhm.
running back, with you playing both sides of the ball, what's a piece of advice that you could give to, let's say, a youngin from Detroit, Michigan, who's trying to make it at running back or wants to be in the DB room, not even specifically playing safety, but either or? What's a piece of advice you could give them for those respectable groups?
Well, for running back, you know, you gotta have an edge to yourself, you know, as far as that. Well, because I didn't play in college, but I know, like, you know, just the position of it. Oh, you gotta have an edge. So, and then just with DB, you know, you just gotta have confidence and you gotta have short memory. You know, at DB, that's the hardest position on the field, in my opinion. And
Mm.
then on top of that, you know, so you gotta have confidence in what you're talking about. Because, you know, you stop at that's one of the other best athletes that you're receiver. So you gotta have confidence. And you just gotta have a short memory because in football, a place is gonna happen. You gonna get a ball caught on you, or you might get a touchdown caught on you, but you gotta have short memory because you gotta be ready to go the next play because the next play can change the whole trajectory of the game. So you know, just confidence and short memory.
And I like that you say that you think DB is the hardest position on the field because the next question I had for you was what is the most challenging aspect of playing defensive back at the college level that a lot of people may not know about?
Yeah, man, it's just it's technique wise for like if you don't got technique, you know, some people can rely off athleticism, then some people that's not athletic, they can go off technique for you gotta think, you know, with in a game full of football, you know, every other position is going forward. We're doing everything going backwards. You get what I'm saying? So it's like you gotta be a technician in certain stuff
Mhm.
like that. And you know, you gotta think we checking dudes that's freak athletes that's 6'4", 6'5", or even not even that tall, but they running 4.3s, 4.2s. You know what I'm saying? Or who can stop on like the cut of a dime. So you know, things of that nature. You just gotta be. I feel like you just gotta have technique, and you gotta be sound in your craft for real, for real. If you're really serious about your craft and your technique, then I think everything you know follow along.
Yeah, I never looked at it like that. Like you say, I do everything backwards.
Everything backwards, and you gotta
Yeah.
think every we're going off of our reaction. You know, the offense they know what they play. You know that they know what play they're doing. We going off what they doing. It's our reaction. So it's like even just you know reacting in a millisecond or just like that. You feel me? That can change the whole play, a whole game. So you know.
For sure. And in your opinion, what is probably the toughest game that you have played at UCLA, or the toughest. Matter of fact, I'm make it easier for you. What's the toughest atmosphere that you have played in? I don't even want to say a
Oh,
game. What's the atmosphere you played in? Because I know college, you got to travel to a lot of different places.
yeah.
Some places you might can't hear, some places you might can't breathe, as well as other places you got rain. What's the toughest atmosphere that you played in your opinion?
That's a good one. Um, okay, I can give you like a top three or top four. My first ever game I ever played and ever started in was against Notre Dame at Notre Dame,
Oof.
and it was ranked. Yeah, so that was kind of it was kind of crazy. It was rocking in there. They playing like the Irish theme song. They got people jumping back and forth in the stands. That was crazy. We played Tennessee at night, first game of the
Oof.
season. That was crazy. I think Neyland Stadium definitely up there. When I went to UCLA, a lot of people don't know, but like Oregon State atmosphere is crazy. They call it like it's called Corvallis, Oregon, but they call it like Cor Vegas or something like that. It's just crazy like that. Like they got a fake chainsaw like all in the crowd, so it's like telling people those.
Yeah.
I would say that, and Mississippi State too. Mississippi State,
Mm.
the Cowbells is irritating, bro. That shit is so irritating. Swear to God, like you could be in the timeout, they still ringing the cowbells. It's crazy. So yeah, I say either Notre Dame, Tennessee, Oregon State, and Mississippi State.
I like that. Now, can you share a moment, like you said earlier, that you
Oh,
take
my
pride?
bad too,
Oh,
my
go
bad. Arizona had some baddies in the crowd. They had some
ahead.
baddies in the crowd. It was crazy.
Arizona for sure. Now, I'm question for you. Now, you play DB, and this I was going to save this a little towards the end, but you just brought up Arizona, and my mind automatically just went to the draft with them having one of the best wide receivers this year. What is the toughest DB? I mean, what is the toughest wide receiver or toughest matchup with you being a safety you having to guard some tight end, some wide receivers? Toughest matchup that you probably have faced before.
Um, oh, I checked Jalen Hyatt a few times when he was at Tennessee. That was crazy. I checked Travis Hunter once, but it wasn't really nothing too crazy for real, for real. I think he's more of a great DB than receiver anyway, but that's not looking like his skill set or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But probably him. When I was at BG, you probably know this guy, but he's a slot receiver. Actually, he was just like real, like swift and quick for real, for real. And, like I had no film on him, so I couldn't expect like what he was coming with. So it was like a circus all again, for real, for real. And I think his name like Devin or something like that. So it's probably Devin, Jalen Hyatt, Travis, and probably T Mac. He like one of the top receivers out of the draft coming up. And like I wasn't even checking him that much, but like he was just giving our whole defense problems. Like he was like inside. It was crazy. Like he's like 6'4", so that's probably top four for real, for real.
For sure. Now back to the original question I was going to ask you. Like we said earlier, you take pride in being a leader.
Mhm.
It's really one of the main things that you really harp on. Can you give us a moment where you had to step up as a leader?
Uh, okay. So, well, yeah, I got one. Really, I think it was one time we had like a freshman at corner that had to start because our freshman corner. He was good, but like I said, he had no confidence or nothing like that for real, for real. So, all throughout practice, throughout the week, like you feel me, you can tell like he was just like off and on, throughout the process of like getting his first start and stuff like that. So like I think like the team dinner like the night before the game, like me and like my other man, we made him stand up like in front of the team, and like we made him say like, "Hey, my name is such and such," and I'm that guy. We made him like screaming
Yeah,
like five times just to like put like some fire under him and like had and like show like the team was messing like they believe in him. So then once we did that, just had a talk with him after that, and then like the next game, I think he had like a pick and like a sack and like some other stuff. So I feel
that's
like
lit.
just doing like that, just to like bring confidence in the young guys. I feel like that was like a big moment in like leadership.
That's definitely lit. That's definitely lit. Now, with you also, again, we stand on your position, you know what I'm saying? With you being a DB, what's one part of your game that you want to improve over the next couple of years? Because, the game is evolving. You can always get better at something. What's one thing you definitely want to improve on?
Probably either just consistency or just playing. Probably consistency or just topping around for real, for real. things when you consistent, like you can't knock that. That's like why some of the guys are so great in the league now. They're consistent, like week after week, like craft to play. So I think consistency breeds greatness. So once you get that down pat, everything else follows. And then just top of the route, what the game is now, like I said, so many wide receivers with so different types of coordination and movements at the top of their route, whether they breaking down an out route, a dig, a post, like you just gotta be ready at the top of the route. That's where like most of like you make your money at because that's like where it happens in like split seconds for real, for real. So probably just consistency and just top of the route breaks and stuff of that nature.
For sure. Now, this question is kind of like going to be mixed. It's pretty much the same question.
hmm
Who has been your biggest influence throughout your whole career?
Uh, hmm, that's a good. You talking about for football wise, like somebody I like model my game at or like look up to, or just period.
You can say both. Period. You know what I'm saying? Well, some people have like mainly like what motivates you every day. Let's say like let's say
Yeah,
mentally and who you model your game after.
I mean, yeah, like definitely biggest influence, just like my parents. Just seeing my dad go to work every day, my mom go to work every day, and they're just making whatever happens, even when they didn't have me like certain stuff. Just keep me pushing and going. And then just honestly, bro, myself, like you feel me, I didn't made it this far, like I didn't did so much. You feel me? It's no reason to stop right now. You feel me? Like that's pointless in my idea, in my, especially like I'm not hurting them like that, or I'm not satisfied with what I've done yet. I feel like I can do more or do more. So that's why I keep going for real. For real. It's just like I've been doing it all my life, and I've been doing it so long and time so far. It's like there's no reason to stop right now. So
For sure. And I definitely, like I said, the follow up question basically to that was like, how everybody kind of like has like their why they keep going, why they keep playing football, why they keep just doing what they're doing every day. Like you said, yours was your parents, right? Or you still got like another one ahead, probably.
yeah, probably definitely my parents and stuff. And then, like I said, just I didn't gave so much to the game. I didn't sacrifice so much as far as like people was going out partying or like doing the other stuff. I was going on trips to colleges, camps, things of that nature. I was putting in extra work when people wasn't. So I just know what I did to get here, and I know what I did to like earn all the stuff that I did. So it's just keeping me going for real.
For sure. And the last couple questions I have for you today as we're wrapping up. If you weren't playing football, what do you think you would be doing right now?
Um, Probably something in sports for sure, whether it was coaching or like being a GM of a team or something like that, things of that nature. Like I feel like once I'm done with that, I'll probably go into like coaching, like being a GM or like some type of sports facility where it accommodate all type of sport.
Got that. Now, of course, um, football got to stop one day,
Mhm.
sports got to stop one day. What is life after football for Jordan Anderson?
So yeah, that's a good question. Like I said, I think I'm gonna always incorporate myself in sports because you feel me. That's all I've been with. Like granted, like I done a lot of side missions, side quests, where like I didn't know how to do some certain stuff. But I feel like I said, just I always give back to the youth. So probably just creating a camp for kids that's gonna be annual. Giving back to kids whether they need cleats or like football equipment and things of that nature or like I said, coaching, where I mean, I'm not playing, but I'm still in the game. I'm giving back to kids, developing kids that way. And yeah, just having a family, having kids that can teach them to do right from wrong. They can look up to me, use me as an example and a resource for things of that nature and how to succeed in life.
Definitely. And as we're wrapping up, I got two more questions for you, and I'm gonna let you go. The next question I have for you is, what do you want people to know Jordan Anderson as, even if they never came across you? Let's say if I had one conversation, yeah, if I just had one little conversation, what's one thing you always want to leave with people?
I always want to leave a great impression. That I was well spoken, well rounded, just always was about business. I never, always kept my word basically. So I was well rounded, well spoken, always kept my word. It's just like I said, always about business.
All right, and the last question I have for you today, in the NFL, can you give me your top five DBs or top? Let's go top five corners, and let's go top three safeties.
Top five corners. I'm going JC, I'm going Pat Surtain, I'm going Derek Stingley. That's three. Um, I'm gonna put my dog Sauce in there just because, like I said, he's still going crazy. And we grew up together, playing together. I don't want to leave nobody out. I said JC. Who the dude? Mm, the fifth spot really getting me right now. That's crazy.
It's definitely a tough list. There's multiple names out there.
It is. I feel like I'm forgetting some.
The
Some.
OG can't get no love. OG Ramsey.
I was about to say that. I was about to say if anything, it had to be Jalen Ramsey. It had to be Jalen Ramsey. Safety wise, there's a lot of safeties out there that's good too, but I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Derwin James.
Love that answer. Great answer.
I'm gonna go Derwin James. It used to be Jamal, but Jamal he ain't playing for a team. I'm gonna go Derwin. I'm gonna go Buda Baker just because his
Ooh,
effort,
that's
he fly
sneaky.
all around the field. And
It's one person you got to name.
I got a name.
It's one person you got to name, and he been going crazy since he jumped in the league.
He a younger. I know somebody. He a younger. He played for the Bucks. What's his name? Antoine Whitfield Jr. He's like
Yeah, him. I like him, and I also like Kyle Hamilton. That's who I was talking about. But
Kyle. Yeah, Kyle. I like Kyle. I do like Kyle. Kyle more so. So that's it. Kyle is like that's what I like about the Ravens defense. Kyle be playing the safety and like the little rover nickel
yeah,
spot. So like he all around. So yeah, you could add Kyle too. So Kyle is a. I'm gonna put Kyle at two, and I'm gonna put Buddha and Antoine Whitfield Jr. three spot.
okay, I like that. I like them.
I'm gonna put Derwin. I'm gonna put Derwin. Derwin still being consistent.
And for all the people that's watching, I did not influence this. Everybody who
Oh,
follow me know. Everybody who follow me know I'm a Childish fan. I ain't influenced that answer. It's not pre-recorded,
that's
but that's
crazy.
yeah. But
Like
that's
I've been watching Derwin since he was at FSU, man. So that's why I like him. That's what somebody might.
yeah. I mean, yeah, he's definitely a great man. You could put him anywhere in the field. When I see him
Yeah,
line up against Travis Kelce, I see him come down, sack quarterbacks. I see him come down through the A gap, fit the running backs, and yeah, he been doing it since high school. I mean, yeah, really since high school, but college
yeah,
that's when he
for
really
real.
turned up. I really love how Florida State. Well, I haven't kept up with too many Florida State DBs now, but that period where they was getting them in and getting them out, yeah, it was one of a kind.
Yeah, they got a corner that's supposed to be nice that's coming out this year too. But yeah, they wanted Florida State definitely one of the cornerstones for getting DBs in school and in the league too.
For sure. Well, Jordan, that's all we got for you today, man. I ain't gonna hold you up. I appreciate you coming on the show. Love you for your time, man.
Appreciate you for having me, man. Thank you.
Is there any last messages you want to send to the people out there, like I said, that don't know you? This is a DMV based podcast. You come from Detroit, Michigan. What's something you could tell the people, man?
Hey, man, just stay tuned for me, man. My story gonna be crazy at the end of it all. Also Detroit football, I think we one of the best ones in the nation, man. We got young boys that's coming out, and we got dudes in the league that's going crazy in college. So yeah, Detroit football on the map for sure.
Yeah, I heard it here, man. Jordan Addison, again, thank you for your time. This is Not Ball Talk 301. We signing out.
He passed me the ball.